guys, Joy here. So I just wanted to hop on and talk about the importance of giving yourself grace, especially when your routines have been thrown off like out of whack. So some of you might know that I got to go to Texas for the last 5 days. I got to visit my brother and sister-in-law and go to this Wild and Free Life workshop, and it was so much fun. I have not been away from my children without Hunter. Like, Hunter and I have a goal to try to go away once a year for at least overnight, one night, though last year that was when we were in the hospital delivering our baby. But I have not gone away without Hunter and without my kids since 7 years ago, and that was for 2 or 3 nights. So I went away 5 days, no kids. One of my best friends from here in DC went with us. It was super awesome. I got to go to this awesome workshop where I felt like I just grew and invested so much, and I got to see my family, and the weather was perfect, and I felt so blessed. And then I came home, and I just happened to see Ali Casaza's, I don't know, an Instagram live something, talking about she happened to go on vacation this weekend with her husband, and giving yourself grace when you get back. And so I wanted to talk about giving yourself grace. Why is it so hard to give other people grace and you don't give yourself grace? And how to give yourself grace. And I believe how you give yourself grace is by the story that you tell yourself and the words that you're telling yourself and the words that you're speaking. So what I mean by that is, like, when you come home, actually my husband is really amazing. Our house was really clean, but sometimes I feel like I want my kids' rooms and our whole house to be like neat as a tack and everything in perfect order, like we're having an open house or something. But if I go to a friend's house and a mom's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, my kids' rooms are a mess," I think, first of all, this isn't even messy, and second of all, it's like, who cares? I totally understand why it's messy. It's because XYZ. Like, I understand you're a busy mom. I wouldn't expect you to have a super clean room or your kids to have super clean rooms. But why do we set such high expectations for ourselves, and we can't give ourselves grace, but we so easily give other people grace? We're like, it's totally understandable you're in the spot you're in, but then when you yourself are in that spot, you don't give yourself that grace. And I think part of it goes back to the words that we speak and the story that we tell ourselves. So this is something that my coach a few weeks ago had coached me, and she said that, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's often what you're focusing on, what you're focusing your thoughts on. And then this weekend at the workshop, we learned that a lot of our insecurities and just negativities come from the story that we're telling ourselves in our mind, right? So you just have to change the story that you're telling yourself in your mind. And so when I got back last night, the kids were in bed, I woke up this morning, and everybody seemed kind of normal. Like, my husband took care of everything, and I am beyond blessed. He's such an awesome husband. But the one thing that he could not do was be me, right? So they woke up, and I thought, oh, things are going real good. Things are going good. But then one of my children started having this crazy meltdown, and she started refusing to go to school. But then she agreed to go to school if I would walk her to school. So I walked her to school. This is elementary school. And then she's kind of crying the whole way there. She's like, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. And then we get to the door, and oh, hey, Barbara. She won't go inside. She's like throwing out a this is an elementary school child, full out tantrum, and other parents are walking by. And I'm not embarrassed by that stuff, because if you're a parent, you've had tantrums. But it was a little unusual. Like, I hadn't seen either of my elementary age children really ever throw a tantrum to this level, a tantrum period in public. So then I was like, I don't know what to do, because if this was like a daycare preschool situation, I would just rip the Band-Aid off and like throw them into the daycare provider's arms and run away. But I can just throw my kid into the elementary school hallway and say to the safety patrol, don't let her run after me. So I drag her, like, kicking and screaming, into the office, and then a guidance counselor comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, I don't know. And so then eventually she's still screaming and crying, and I'm like, okay, bye. And I just left her with this guidance counselor, and I took Adeline back. And it was so stressful. And then I got home and I nursed Andrew, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep nursing him, because I was pumping for 5 days. I don't know if my milk is gone. Then I talked to one of my business partners for one of my businesses, and we had this like huge problem that has sort of like bubbled up, that's kind of my issue that I have to deal with. And I hadn't read the literally 30 emails that have been circulated the last 5 days over this. And I got off the phone with her, and then I was like, I don't think I'm going to have any time to look for an au pair, which was my #1 goal that I put on my planner for today. And I think I'm going to start bawling. I was feeling so overwhelmed. I was feeling like, you know, like maybe I was a terrible mom to go that long. And oh, hey, Alyssa. I was just feeling so overwhelmed, and I was really tired. Like, I did not get a lot of sleep this weekend because I was hanging out with my girls. And so then I started thinking, okay, I am going to tell myself a different story. And then I listened to a Joel Osteen podcast in talking about the power of your words, like speaking in faith. This is a biblical principle, even if you don't believe in the power of the Bible. But just think about this. Christians believe that God spoke the world into existence. How crazy is that? If God can speak the world into existence, then what is the power that we can speak into our existence? So I started trying to tell myself a different story, that my child was just adjusting. It was going to be okay. You know, I just reframed my thoughts, really. I started telling myself a different story. The overwhelm started to go down. I just readjusted my expectations of what I was going to be able to complete today, and just started telling myself it's okay if my house is not neat as a tack. The reason I'm doing this in my kitchen is because there's my suitcase on our kitchen table. I haven't finished unpacking it, and I might go to bed after this, and it's all going to be okay. So I just wanted to encourage you out there to think about giving yourself grace, as much grace as you give other people that you know. Give yourself that much grace. And then if you're struggling, when people say that and you ask yourself, what in the world does that mean? It means to tell yourself a different story. Speak different words. Start telling yourself a different story to access that grace. And that's awesome. So I hope you're encouraged, and have a great night.